Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Erin and today is Friday, which means it is Book Review Friday once again. Today we have a book that was sent to me by the author, so I just want to let you guys know this book was sent to me. Just because it was sent to me doesn't mean that I won't be giving you guys my full and honest thoughts. You know how I do it here on my channel. I don't hold back, so I like to fully tell you guys how I feel about each and every book, so just want to be upfront. But today we are talking about Crimson Minds by Patrick Kaiser. Now this is actually a verse thriller novel, which I will get into a little bit more later when I tell you guys my thoughts. Not a horror book, but it is a thriller, and I do love thrillers just as much as I love horror. I like the thrill, if you will. That's what I enjoy, so thrillers are just as good in my book. Okay, so let's talk about the cover real quick. I'm going to try to show you this to the best of my abilities. My ring light messes with shiny covers. But I really like the colors, red, yellow, and grayish black. I like those colors. They're dark, but you got the pop of color with the yellow and red. And I think that's really cool. I like the dog right here in the center. So I think it's a really cool cover. I like it. So let's get into the synopsis, and then I will tell you guys my overall thoughts on this book. In Chicago, there are 3 gangs that battle for power, but they aren't your average gangs. They have psychic abilities. Each gang is led by their king, and each king wants to take control of the city for themselves. Daniel couldn't care less about the struggle of power in the city. All he wants to do is find out what happened to his dad and his sister and what is actually going on behind their murders. Of course, looking for answers is always easier said than done, and he gets more than he bargained for in the form of the mysterious woman named Rose. And that's gonna do it for the synopsis. I know, really short, really quick, really to the point, but that's actually what the entire book is about. It's not vague at all. It's very easy to understand, as in what you're getting is what you get. This book is very obvious, not in the sense as it's very predictable or anything like that, just more obvious as in what you see is what you get. So it's very to the point. You know what kind of book you're reading. So, like I said, this is a verse novel, and if you are not familiar with verse novels, I know I'm not fully aware of verse novels. I don't read a lot of them, but it's written like poetry. So I'll just give you a little sneak peek. So that's what it looks like, and it's very interesting to read a thriller in the form of verse. It's very strange, but in a good way. It's not bad or weird. It's just different. It's not something I'm used to. It's not something I see a lot. I was very, very interested in reading a verse novel when he reached out to me. I was very interested just because I don't see it a lot. I really don't. I think the last time I read a verse novel was in high school, and it was probably a YA book, and that was it. I don't see a lot of thrillers or, you know, horror or mysteries, at least not that I've seen. I think that's really cool. I think that's really unique, and I think it makes it stand out from the crowd. I found it very fun to read. I think it flows really nicely. It just kind of, this is gonna sound weird, but just kind of flows off the page as you're reading. You're just like, it's such a rhythmic reading. You know, you have rhythm as you're reading, so it's very easy to read. It's just like bum, bum. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense? I feel like that makes no sense. It just flows nicely as you're reading. It's very easy to read. It's actually a very fast read. This book is 315 pages, but again, it took me like no time to read because it's not a lot of text. It's not a full page of text. Very fast and easy. I also like that it didn't take a lot of effort, I guess, to read. I know that sounds weird, and not as in like it's not a hard book. I guess it's not a hard book to read, as in when you read a book, sometimes you have to sit down, you have to focus. You just have to sit there and concentrate so hard, or you will just kind of lose that momentum, and then you can get sidetracked and the book can just become like a blur. You have no idea what's going on. This is different because it's so fast-paced and it's so easy to read because there is little words. The plot is pretty straightforward, so it doesn't take, you know, full concentration, because you don't need that full concentration. It's just easy flipping pages. Like, you know, you're reading and you're just like, oh yeah, and you just keep flipping, you just keep reading, you keep going. You don't, I mean, you have concentration, but it's not that you have to completely zero in and focus your mind when you're reading. I don't know if that makes any sense. I hope that makes sense to somebody. If it doesn't, I'm really sorry, but that's the best way I can describe how it's an easy read. And I don't mean easy read as in, oh, this book's for kids and, you know, the words aren't hard and stuff like that. I don't mean it like that. I just mean the way you have to concentrate is much different. I hope that makes sense. I really hope that makes sense. I felt like the plot was extremely unique. I hadn't heard anything like this before. I really liked that the gangs weren't normal gangs. I liked that they had psychic abilities and that made them different, and it made, I don't know, their fight scenes a little bit more interesting. It's not like, you know, where they like pull out a knife and they're like, oh, I'm gonna cut ya. That's not how gangs interact. But you know what I'm saying. It's not like it's like a brawl, like a pa, you know, because they're using their minds. So like their minds are fighting, and I find that, I don't know, I just find that really cool. I think it's really interesting, and it was fun to read the fight scenes because that's not what you expect gangs to do. Not that I know a lot about gangs, but you know, I just assume gangs fight with knives and guns. I'm sure they like punch each other too, but okay, never mind, doesn't matter. So my only criticism of this book is that you really get thrown into the plot with no real understanding of anything. And usually I like getting thrown right into the middle of everything, not having any idea what's going on. I usually do love that, and I would have loved that in this if we had just gotten more information. So anytime a new person or a new gang or a new king or whatever was introduced, you didn't really get any information about any of them. It was just kind of like, here's this, now it's in the story, which is cool and that's fine, but I just would have liked a little bit more backstory and background information on the different characters, the different gangs, the different kings, and the different like psychic abilities. You're not given any background or backstory, so at times it was a little hard to follow what exactly was going on, or who was who, or what gang was what gang, just because if you didn't know any information about them, it was kind of hard to distinguish at times. You had to really pay attention to names and the different names of the gangs, or else you would have just not understood anything. I just would have liked a little bit more about the gangs. I think that would have been really cool to know about each gang, what their like specialty is, what their psychic abilities are, what they do, who they hate. I mean, you kind of know who they hate because they kind of all hate each other, but more specifics, like why do they hate each other, other than the fact that they're all vying for power. But is there any specifics? Maybe I missed something and I just wasn't paying attention when I was reading, because sometimes that happens. Sometimes I miss things because it's just easy to get, you know, sidetracked, and some of that information can get swallowed up if you're not paying full attention, so maybe I missed it, but I just felt like I could have used just like an itty bitty bit more information, so I could have just had more knowledge of everything that was going on, just because I just felt like the gangs were so cool and the psychic abilities were so cool and the plot was so cool, but you didn't fully understand the big picture because it wasn't given to you. Now there are more books. So there's a book 2 and a book 3, which maybe you're gonna find out more information in that. So I would be interested in those, because if more things are gonna get explained and I will get more information, then I would be happy, because I just want to know more. I also would have liked more detail on the psychic abilities, because sometimes when they were fighting or using their psychic abilities, I wasn't quite sure what they were doing or what the power was about or how they were using it or how the fighting was actually happening. I knew it was in their mind, but I just would have liked a little bit more information so I could have fully pieced it together and been like, oh, they're using that power because it does this and they're gonna do this next. You know what I mean? I just would have liked just a hint more info, and I just feel like I would have been like, yes, because I just needed more detail to understand everything fully. Otherwise, I liked the plot, I liked the verse style of writing, I liked everything about it except the little details that I just wanted. But I also liked the ending. I liked that it was a cliffhanger, so that makes you want to go read books 2 and 3, just because some books you can end it and not want to go read the other books, but I like books that keep you wanting more, so that was cool. I liked the cliffhanger style of writing. I overall really enjoyed the book. I had a lot of fun reading it. It was a really fast, easy, fun read, and I enjoyed every second of it. But again, just a little more detail. Just a little bit more detail. Just a little bit. I just would have wanted to know more. And usually me, I don't want to know more things because some books are just too extra in their detail. But I just feel like I could have done with a little bit more detail in this book. So thank you again to Patrick for sending me his book. I had a lot of fun reading it. I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to reading more from you. If this is any indication of what you can do, I'm very excited for your other books. And yeah, guys, that's going to do it for Book Review Friday. It's Friday. I'm so excited. The end of the week. I hope you guys had a good week. If you didn't, I hope you have a better week next week and have a good weekend. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. It lets me know what kind of content you enjoy from me. That way I can keep providing you with that content. Feel free to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. We can become friends and talk about books, horror, makeup, all kinds of things. I do a lot on this channel, so hopefully there's something for everyone. And with that being said, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday with a new video. Bye!